everybody. My name is Kayla Slater. I am a registered dietitian specializing in plant-based nutrition, specifically for endurance athletes. And welcome to my virtual Veg Fest talk on how to unlock your plant-based potential with myself, Coach Kayla. And just before we get started as well, thank you for Terraseed for sponsoring this month's live talks on Virtual Veg Fest, YouTube, Facebook, as well as their website. You can also go to virtualvegfestlive.com to win awesome prize packs and enter in their contest. So definitely check those out. And today we're going to be talking about supplements. So we're going to be talking about, what supplements should you be taking? Should you be taking supplements when you are plant-based? And how is there a way we can get certain nutrients or certain vitamins from our food? And also, if not, what do we or should supplement if you're new to plant-based? So this topic is great for anyone that's new to plant-based or interested in learning more about supplementation, what you should be supplementing, and also what you should be looking for when it comes to supplements. So if you're joining me live, comment below. I want to know you're on. Say hey, say hello. I would love to know if you are on. Okay. All right. So let's talk about supplements. So what should you be taking? So plant-based is a very wide range, I should say, as well, about what it encompasses. I mean, plant-based in the sense of just the word plant-based means incorporating more plants into your diet and eating a more plant-forward diet. So it can be, vegetarian, pescatarian, vegetarian, which includes fish, cheese, and dairy, all the way to a whole food plant-based diet or a vegan diet. And a vegan diet could mean that, that they're not necessarily eating whole foods, but you could incorporate a lot of vegan junk foods because you're doing it more for ethical reasons. A more whole food plant-based diet is going to be more for health reasons, and it's going to be focused more on whole foods. So specifically when we're talking about eating a diet that eliminates all animal products, so all animal products either in a whole food plant-based diet or a vegan diet, there's two nutrients that are very difficult or challenging for us to get and almost non-existent. But I will tell you what foods that you can get these from, because we can get these through some foods that are non-animal products. But for the most part, these are the two supplements that we may need. Number one is vitamin D. Vitamin D is actually one of the most common deficiencies. And I see this all the time because as a dietitian, I look at labs and I work with clients that they've been diagnosed or been told by their doctor that they're vitamin D deficiency. And they don't even have to be plant-based. So vitamin D deficiency is very common. And the biggest the best source of vitamin D is actually sunlight. But for some reason, we're not getting enough sunlight. And we should really only need about 10 minutes of sunlight without sunscreen. Obviously, any more than that can damage our skin. So we do want to apply sunscreen, but we should only really need 10 minutes outside of sunshine. But depending on where you live, most of us, like in the Northern Hemisphere, we don't always get the sunshine. Like right now, it's a very gloomy, rainy day here in upstate New York. So we don't have a lot of sun today. So we don't always get sun. So I actually didn't get any sun today, but luckily I did take my vitamin D supplement. So that is good. The only source that's really non-animal based product, it does have vitamin D in it. I shouldn't say only source because some foods can also be fortified. Some of your plant-based milks can be fortified with vitamin D. But mushrooms do have vitamin D, but it's really indirectly from the sun because mushrooms are usually grown either outside, which they get sunlight, or they're, created or grown in a greenhouse that has UV light. So that is actually how you can get vitamin D from mushrooms. So you could start adding more, mushrooms and things like that into your foods to try to get more vitamin D if that is a concern. Um, so vitamin D. And the other one, a big one, is vitamin B12. Oh, actually, to go back as well, what does vitamin D do for us? So, vitamin D is important for our bone health. That's the biggest thing. Vitamin D and calcium work together to help keep our bones strong. So, that's the biggest thing for vitamin D. And then there's vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 it helps with cognitive function, it helps with memory. So we need to make sure we're eating enough B12. But B12 deficiencies are very common in vegans as well as the older population. And vitamin B12 is only in animal products for the most part. The best source of actually vitamin B12 is, can anyone guess what it is? You might know this if you're vegan, you might already use this. It's usually used for vegans. We use it as a cheese, kind of like a cheese. Really, it's a cheese replacement because it kind of tastes like cheese, but it's nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is like 100% B12. So if you put that on everything, I know vegans that don't take a vitamin B supplement because they use so much nutritional yeast. So nutritional yeast is great. There's also products that can be fortified in B12. So that's another thing as well, to get your B12. But those are the most common supplements that I do always recommend to people. And then another thing with supplements that I wanted to bring up as well is, I do get a lot of questions about what supplements I should take. Now, as I said, those are the two most common because most people, we're either not getting them from our food or are deficient. The best way to know if you should supplement at all is to really get those lab values. Do not just take supplements because, somebody else is taking them or been kind of just heard that these are kind of what you should be taking. Please make sure to get your labs done. Go to your doctor, get some blood work done. You can also use services online now, which is really great. You can get lab work done through Quest. You can get lab work done through, Inside Tracker, those sort of things to get your lab work done. So please get that lab work done. Know what you're deficient in before you take any supplements and really talk to a doctor or nutrition professional that can give you exactly how much you should be taking. And that's very, very important because a lot of these things too, we don't want to overdose. And it does depend whether it is a fat soluble, water soluble vitamin, but you don't really want to be over consuming, right? There is an upper limit for our water soluble vitamins. So we don't want to be eating more than we need. Another thing too is to make sure that it is from a reliable source. So make sure it is a brand that you trust. So the best way is to know is to either know somebody that you trust that's recommended by, or look at the labels that it's labeled and make sure it has certain labels. Make sure that it has labels on there that recognize it because all our supplements are all regulated by the FDA. So you do want to make sure that they do have, those seals, those recommendations, things like that. One of my favorite products that I use and that I recommend, they're not something that I am sponsored with or anything like that or affiliate with. I just love their products. I use them myself and I recommend them. And one of the reasons that I really like them is it has the labels that you want to see on your supplements. And you want to make sure that it's gone through these, really not just have these labels on them, but it actually has the reputation. So let me see if I can find this. Actually, I don't think I can show you this, can I? I was gonna show you guys. Um, maybe not. Okay. Hang on with me, guys. All right. So, I just want to make sure I tell you guys the right thing. Um, it should be NS. I think it's NS, yeah, non-GMO certified, NSF certified. Those are things that you want to look for on your supplements. So those are things you want to really look for and just make sure that they are good. Obviously, being vegan and plant-based too, you want to make sure that it's dairy-free, all of that kind of stuff. So that's important as well to check out. But Garden of Life is a great one. There's also other great supplements. Just make sure you know it's a brand. I wouldn't buy a cheap generic brand for supplements. Because what you may getting is you may be actually consuming more sugar and paying for more nonsense than really getting a nutrient or vitamin that you need. Another thing too that I just have to say this as well as a registered dietitian, food is best always first. So I can't emphasize that enough. If we can get, and that's why I gave you guys sources for vitamin D and B12, if we can get our nutrients from food, that is best. But we do know, as you know, if you do eat a vegan diet, there are nutrients that you're missing because we're excluding food groups. So we do want to make sure we're supplement. Other supplements you might consider as well would be, omegas, EHA, DPA, calcium, those other supplements as well could be important as well to take. So, I think that is it. So to summarize everything, so the plant supplements we should be looking at or we should be taking are vitamin D and B12 if we are vegans or whole food plant-based, and we're eliminating all animal products. Other supplements that may be important are calcium, omegas, also iron. I forgot to mention that one. It's also important to make sure we're getting our supplements from reputable brands that we trust. And it's always best to get nutrients from our food first if we can. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can reach out to me on social media. I am on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. You can also email me at caleb@plantbasedperformancecoaching.com. So with that, thank you again. Thank you for Virtual Veg Fest as well as Tara. Let me make sure I get it right. TerraSeed.com for sponsoring this month's web talks or virtual talks. There we go. Struggling tonight. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining. And we will hope to see you next Wednesday with Unlocking Your Plant-Based Potential with Coach Kayla. Bye.